We've got breaking news from the NFL where the Washington Commanders have traded running back Brian Robinson Jr. to the 49ers in exchange for a 6th-round pick next year. Robinson is entering the final year of his rookie deal. He set career highs in 2024 with 799 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. Our NFL crew of John Breech, Douzable with us to talk about this. Lige, I'll come to you first here. B-Rob no longer in Washington. And when you saw the news, you LOL. Tell us more about this trade and your reaction.
Yeah, we saw that, Korski merit for the Washington Commanders as a rookie has really taken some reps with the first and second team. So it kind of pushed Brian Robinson out of there because of the money he's making this year. So when you look at it for the 49ers, it makes sense because they have a bevy of injuries at the running back position. Patrick Taylor just got hurt. Eisenberg just returned back to practice. And let's not forget, Christian McCaffrey missed the majority of the season last year. So it makes a lot of sense. You want to bring a guy in like Brian Robinson, who is a physical back, who could be their short yardage back. But do not get it twisted. If that guy is healthy, as we saw in the 2023 season, he's going to get majority of the reps. And when you look at what, Kyle Shanahan does with his skill set, he puts them all over the place, puts them in the backfield, puts them out at wide receiver. But to me, this shows that they're worried about the running back depth with the 49ers, and actually not even just the running back depth. On offense, period, they've been hurt at the receiver position, the offensive line position. So this is all about making sure you have the subsequent depth in the backfield because the 49ers, everything is based off their run game and marrying the run and pass game. So you got to have a stable of backs. And we've seen in the past with Kyle Shanahan, he's been able to use multiple backs in his system.
Yeah, and Leger is absolutely right. This has to do with the health of the 49ers. If you were watching the 49ers last season, it seems like half the roster went down, and things are not off to a great start this year. Leger mentioned the receiving room. That's a big reason why the 49ers went out and made a trade for Sky Moore earlier this week. And so now you have them making this trade for Brian Robinson, who, by the way, has to love this because now you are going to a team. You get to play for Kyle Shanahan, one of the most prolific offensive minds. You're behind Christian McCaffrey. This is a good spot for Robinson, and the 49ers likely making this move, as Leger noted, because of the health. You look at what's happened to him during training camp. Eisenberg likely would have been behind Christian McCaffrey, but dealing with the shoulder injury that kept him out a good chunk of training camp, although he did return this week. So probably then you have Corey Kiner injured his ankle. He's going to be out a substantial amount of time. Patrick Taylor's out for the season. So that's 3 running backs that have been injured just in training camp. And so if you're the 49ers, as Leger noted, this is a team that does love to run the ball. That kind of sets up everything they're able to do. So you have to have someone that's healthy and who you can trust behind Christian McCaffrey. That's where Brian Robinson comes in. So this feels like a good move for the 49ers. They only had to give up a 6th-round pick to make it happen. And if you're the Commanders, we knew this was going to happen. The writing was on the wall. He was held out of that Week 2 preseason game. It was just a matter of time until they were able to find a trade partner, and they were able to do that with San Francisco.
The good news in San Francisco is that B-Rob very consistent when you look at him year in and year out. So they're getting a consistent running back. But to Lige and your point, John, we'll see how much he cracks into that rotation. Appreciate the time on this breaking news. Brian Robinson Jr. is headed to San Francisco. More news and analysis can be found right here on CBS Sports HQ. And don't forget the NFL returns to CBS on September 7th. So, of course, it's not just the actual football we're worried about when it comes to the B-Rob trade. We've also got our Fantasy Football Today crew here, Jamey, Eisenberg, Dave, Richard. I'll just get reactions. Jamey, I'll come to you first. What do you think on the trade, and how does this impact the world of fantasy?
I'd be a little concerned if I was Brian Robinson, given all the injury problems that the 49ers backfield is looking at right now. So hopefully he's going to be healthy, but I think this really is more an indication of what the depth is. This really has nothing to do with Christian McCaffrey. I'm still treating McCaffrey as the gold standard of the 49ers running backs and a guy that I'm taking in the top 5 overall picks. I think he's going to be fantastic if he's healthy, and that's the biggest thing, and that's why they go out and they get a Brian Robinson, just in case McCaffrey does have this injury problem creep up once again, only playing 4 games last year. So Robinson's going to take the spot eventually of Isaac Guerrero. This is really an indication, I think, of where they are with him, dealing with the shoulder injury, Patrick Taylor not being there, Jordan James dealing with a finger injury, the rookie that they have as well. So McCaffrey's fine. Don't panic about him. This is now the guy to go get if you draft McCaffrey with a late-round pick, and just, unfortunately, if you did invest in Isaac Guerrero, probably not going to be a great situation for him unless both guys get hurt, which we saw last year. when McCaffrey and Jordan Mason were dealing with injuries.
I'm not sure if I agree with that last part. I completely agree with Christian McCaffrey. He's absolutely a first-round pick. I am hoping in my drafts this weekend that people see this news and they go, oh, man, Brian Robinson's there. Well, I better not take Christian McCaffrey. I better go get somebody else. And then McCaffrey falls to me because I want Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy. Well, it's a bad strategy if you're going to pass on Christian McCaffrey just because they add him in depth. I wonder if Guerrero is the better runner still for the 49ers for what their scheme is. They like to be a zone running team. They did a ton of it last year. Brian Robinson averaged 3.6 yards per carry on zone runs, but on gap runs, well, 5+ yards per carry. But that's not what the 49ers want to invest in all the time. There might be some weeks where they do want to do that. That's where Robinson could make some sense. I still wonder if Guerrendo's still the right guy. The good news is you can pick whichever running back you want. You can get them as late as you want because no one's going to be as interested in drafting Guerrero or Robinson. They might have been interested in Guerrero before this trade because they want to get the guy behind McCaffrey. Now that there's uncertainty with who that guy is, they're not going to bother even trying to get one of those guys. So you can wait until like around 75 to get Guerrero or Robinson on your team if you want to.
All right, so they kind of pushed down the board a little bit more there. Let's talk about the Commanders, what we have left in that running back room in the Commanders. Of course, Little Bill himself, Ja'Cory Krosky, Bill Merritt, whatever we're calling him, stole the headlines in the preseason game. But when you look at the rest of the depth chart, you also have an Austin Eckler. You also have Chris Rodriguez Jr. So, Dave, as you're looking to draft, how do you address the Commanders room here?
First and foremost, I'm not taking any of these guys until round 9 at the absolute earliest, and that's in a full PPR league. And the guy that I want is actually Austin Eckler. I think he's the one that's best served in this offense. I think he could see a little uptick in playing time, certainly on passing downs. He did that last year. And when Brian Robinson wasn't playing and wasn't starting for the Commanders, we saw him average 3 games over 15 PPR points per game. You don't have to reach for him. Not everybody's going to chase after Austin Eckler on draft day. I think he's the one that you go after first and foremost. I do like Krosky Merritt more than Chris Rodriguez, but these guys are going to take away from each other, Haley. And if they do that, they're splitting what Brian Robinson was doing last year. Robinson was around 10 fantasy points per game, whether it was PPR or non-PPR. I think both those running backs are okay. I just think Eckler, with the fact that he catches passes, does make him the better option for fantasy.
It's probably the safest option, but let's get Little Bill. I mean, let's just go get the fun player. Fantasy's about fun, and this guy's going to be the most exciting of these guys. Eckler's 100 years old, okay? He's not going to get an uptick in carries. He's going to maybe get an uptick in playing time, like Dave said, but I don't think he's going to touch the ball any more than he was if Robinson was there. Robinson's not there. Chris Rodriguez is the potential problem here because this is a guy that's been with this coaching staff that could be the speed bump to Little Bill getting on the field and doing the things that he's capable of doing. But I want to have fun with fantasy. I like the way I see from Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I think he's going to be somebody that eventually takes over this backfield, eventually does the things that Brian Robinson Jr. didn't do. And by the middle of the season, we could be talking about a number 2 running back. So I'm going to take him in round 7 or round 8, depending on how the running backs are coming off the board. Let somebody else take the old guy. I'm going to take the new guy that's going to have a lot of fun and do great things in this Washington
backfield. You want to know what's more fun than drafting a 7th-round rookie running back? Winning your fantasy football league, and you can do that with Eckler. And here's the best part.
Maybe 5 years ago you could do that with Eckler.
Well, no, definitely less than 5 years ago. I think you're kind of in a strange land going after Krosky Merritt that soon. You've been in more drafts than I have lately. Is that where he's been going, or have you seen him fall a little bit far?
He goes in like round 6. I mean, people are excited.
Yeah,
they're excited.
I wouldn't take him that soon. I wouldn't
take him that soon.
Even round 7 is too rich for my blood, so I will take the safer option in Eckler.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, he's going to be better than Caleb Johnson.
Okay, you heard it here first on CBS Sports HQ. I'm expecting to see a Little Bill type name built into one of your fantasy teams this year. That is my challenge for you in 2025.
Okay, I like it.
Catch the guys on Fantasy Football Today, bringing you the latest coverage up to the minute. They are always bringing you all of the insight, working around the clock to make sure your fantasy team wins. Whether you like Little Bill, whether you like Austin Eckler, you can get more fantasy advice by scanning that QR code on your screen right now.